People think they know Meghan Markle. They don't, not even close. Those were the words that slipped from the lips of Tom Bower, the man who never speaks unless he's holding something real, sharp, and dangerous. When Tom Bower talks, people stop breathing for a moment, because whatever he says next usually shakes the ground beneath someone's perfectly polished image. And this time, he said something that made the whole room go silent. That behind the magazine smiles, the polished speeches, and the glamorous interviews, there's another Meghan Markle, a different one. The kind of woman stitched together by quiet deals, secret flights, and favors exchanged in shadows. He called it the invisible hands behind the Duchess. And those words opened a door no one was ready to look through. Because this isn't just another royal headline. This is a story of hidden money, power, and a lifestyle that shouldn't even exist based on what the world thinks she earns. So, let's start with the question that breaks everything open. The one even a child could ask: how can someone spend more money than they make and never run out? From the outside, Meghan's life looks like something out of a billionaire's dream. Private jets, glowing luxury vacations, endless designer clothes, and a Montecito mansion that looks like a movie set. But the math doesn't make sense. Her Netflix deal, silent. Her Spotify deal, gone. Her brand partnerships, quietly fading away. Her production projects, delayed, abandoned, or never even born. Yet somehow, nothing slows down. People close to her use a phrase most of us have never even heard: funding continuity. It sounds harmless, it sounds polite, but what it really means is this: someone, or several someones, is paying to keep that dream alive. Not for kindness, not for charity, but for access. And that's where the real story begins. To understand what's happening now, you have to go back to the moment Meghan Markle walked into the royal world. She believed she was stepping into a fairy tale fortune. Rooms full of diamonds, castles dripping with wealth, and a prince whose inheritance matched the stories she'd grown up hearing. But that illusion cracked fast, because Prince Harry, the man the world sees as royal, isn't a billionaire, not even close. His personal wealth came mostly from his mother's inheritance, a few military pensions, and small investments. Everything else, the estates, the castles, the jewels, they all belong to the crown, not Harry. He couldn't sell them, he couldn't spend them, he couldn't even use them freely. For someone like Meghan, who'd spent her life chasing independence and freedom, that discovery was like a slap. Royal life wasn't a golden ticket, it was a gilded cage. Inside those palace walls, there were rules. Endless rules. Rules about what to wear, when to speak, who to smile at, and even what color nail polish was appropriate. And the moment she realized she couldn't bend those rules, something inside her began to shift. She didn't like being told no. She didn't like waiting her turn. She didn't like being controlled. That was the moment the princess in her story quietly vanished, and the planner was born. Once the castles lost their magic, Meghan saw the royal family for what it truly was: a machine built on tradition, hierarchy, and silence. And silence was something she couldn't stand. She wanted expansion, not restriction. Freedom, not protocol. Control, not ceremony. So she started planning, not for love, not for the crown, but for independence. The kind of independence that would never be questioned again. Those close to her say she didn't see Harry as the ending of her story. She saw him as the beginning of her biggest chapter. And that chapter had been forming long before he ever appeared. To understand who Meghan really is, you can't start at the royal wedding. You have to go back to the years when she was still an actress in Hollywood, still learning the ropes, still figuring out how to get into rooms most people never knew existed. Because long before Prince Harry, there was Soho House. On the surface, it's just another stylish club. Actors, musicians, producers drinking cocktails under soft lights. But people who've actually seen what happens behind those velvet curtains say it's far more than that. It's a gateway, a quiet door into a world of private jets, secret investors, and global influence that never gets posted online. And that's where Meghan first learned the rules of the hidden elite. She started meeting people whose names don't appear in magazines, but whose money moves mountains. One of them was billionaire investor Ron Burkle, a man deeply tied to both Hollywood and royal circles. Burkle wasn't just rich, he was connected. The kind of man who could open doors you didn't even know existed. Those who watched Meghan back then say she wasn't just socializing, she was studying. She watched how these people talked, how they moved, who they respected, who they ignored. She wasn't there to be seen, she was there to learn. This wasn't a fairy tale, it was training, and Meghan absorbed every detail like oxygen. From the outside, it looked like she was just lucky, invited to every glamorous event, connected to everyone who mattered. But insiders know better. She had mastered something almost no one else could pull off: the art of appearing invited even when she wasn't. She knew where to stand, when to show up, who to talk to, and most importantly, who to avoid. She never begged for access. She made people want her near them, not because she was rich, not because she was famous, but because she was useful, socially, strategically, publicly. Her charm was her weapon. Her presence was her currency. By the time Harry appeared, Meghan wasn't some starstruck actress. She was a strategist, polished, prepared, and deeply networked. Harry didn't create her story. He accelerated it. And that's why the next part of her life feels so mysterious. Because what she's living now looks a lot like what she learned back then. When Meghan and Harry finally settled in their Montecito mansion, people started noticing something strange. Her projects weren't doing well. Her public image was wobbling. Her Netflix show faded after its first spark. Spotify ended the deal. Her lifestyle brand struggled to even launch. And the people working for her quietly rotated out one by one. From the outside, the Sussex brand seemed to be shrinking, but her life, her actual life, wasn't shrinking at all. If anything, it was getting grander. Private jets, European holidays, designer wardrobes worth more than most people's yearly salaries, bodyguards who cost a fortune. The questions started echoing louder and louder. If everything's failing, why doesn't anything stop? Those close to her say she spends like nothing's changed, as if there's a second stream of money, one the world can't see, as if even when the public deals crumble, there's still a quiet engine running in the background. And that's when people started whispering again about those benefactors, the ones who don't appear in photos, the ones who don't ask for credit, the ones who keep the lights on for reasons far deeper than friendship. People close to the couple started calling them the untouchables, because no matter how bad the press got, how many deals fell through, or how much the public turned on them, nothing in their lifestyle ever changed. It was almost as if they were cushioned, as if an invisible net caught them every time they stumbled. And people who'd been around long enough started recognizing the pattern, because Meghan had lived this way before. Long before Montecito, she'd already learned how to survive in luxury without ever showing the source. According to insiders, Meghan has always had what polite society calls quiet supporters. They're not fans. They're not girlfriends writing checks out of sympathy. These are strategic benefactors, people with serious money and serious motives. They don't support her out of affection. They do it because she's useful. To them, Meghan is more than a woman. She's a bridge between royalty and Hollywood, between activism and influence, between media and power. And a bridge like that, it's priceless. These benefactors understand something that most of us don't. Keeping Meghan visible keeps their worlds connected. Her presence at an event opens headlines they could never buy. Her name in a conversation gives their causes or companies a spotlight that money alone can't guarantee. They need her because she connects their worlds. She brings royalty to Hollywood, Hollywood to activism, activism to global relevance. She's the perfect intersection point of privilege, beauty, and controversy. The modern currency of fame, but behind that shine lies a quiet cost. Those close to her say she's become trapped in the very system she created. Her independence isn't what it seems. Her freedom isn't free. Every move, every appearance, every speech, all of it has to fit the image her benefactors built. She can't step too far from the narrative. She can't fade out, but she also can't fully reveal herself. It's a delicate dance. One wrong step, and the music stops. And that's why her life looks untouched, no matter what happens publicly. Because the people who keep her world spinning don't care about tabloid gossip or fan opinion. They care about continuity, keeping the bridge intact, keeping the doors open, keeping the illusion alive. And as you trace her journey from those early yacht trips through Soho House to Montecito's manicured perfection, the pattern becomes crystal clear. This was never about love stories or fairy tale crowns. It was never even about escaping the royal system. It was about control, financial, social, and emotional. Meghan Markle learned how to make herself indispensable to powerful people. And that's the most dangerous kind of power of all. Because when someone like that stops needing the palace, stops needing the Hollywood machine, and starts living entirely off influence, she becomes something untouchable. Not because of money, but because no one can afford to let her disappear. Tom Bower once said it in a way that still echoes today. Meghan's not just surviving, she's being maintained. And that sentence chills everyone who truly understands what it means. Because in her world, wealth isn't what's in the bank, it's what stays unspoken. It's not about who earns the money, it's about who decides you're still worth funding. Deals may fall apart, headlines may fade, but as long as there are people who need her, the machine behind Meghan Markle will never turn off. It will keep humming quietly, invisibly, endlessly. Because to those who built it, she's not just a duchess. She's a gateway, a symbol, a connection they can't afford to lose. And that's why, no matter how the story twists or how the world reacts, as long as someone out there keeps paying for her seat at the table, Meghan Markle's curtain will never fall.